Taurus, thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to your March 2020 reading. This is actually your daily predictions for March 2020. We're going to be taking a look, pulling a card for each of the days, and they're by the weeks, and we'll be seeing what themes might be coming through. I'm hearing right off the bat, repressed emotion, perhaps that is coming through for review as well, and but it's very exciting energy. It's funny, I actually jumped right into reading with a full-bodied smile. So Capricorn, I'm hearing Capricorn, Leo, I'm hearing get ready. For the lipstick and the drum roll, someone has a major, I'm hearing, announcement as well. Now let's jump into it here for you, dear Taurus. And again, this is your March 2020 reading, daily predictions, and then we're going to jump into toward the tail end of the reading, the pick a card stacks. Okay, so we're going to have 3 stacks, and feel free, whatever you feel guided to watch, if you feel free, if you feel guided to also watch, all 3, then they're free to watch. All right, Leo's coming through here. Wow. Now, Taurus. We got the 6 of Wands coming through around the 1st of March. Around the 2nd, we got the 8 of Wands. Wow, fire. We then move 10 of Wands, all right. I'm tired. I'm hearing you're laughing right now, but I'm super sore. I'm hearing my thumb is sore. I'm tired. I'm tired. I hear that with the 10 of Wands, all right. I'm hearing bust, but here we go. Judgment upright coming through right over. It just fell right over, toppled right over the 8 of Wands. This is around the 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Now, for number review, you're actually coming out with some kind of news. I'm hearing it's a breakthrough, 10 of Cups in reverse. Like, someone's like, I'm so excited to announce this. Yay! I'm finally breaking down also what has felt to be like this sort of mystery, the enigma of my own personal evolution. I realize also what I want. Ah, so lovely. Now, you lead out of the 10 of Cups in reverse into the 3 of Cups in reverse and the 4 of Swords in reverse. Now, for a number of you might feel like, well, I'm technically like trashing all this. I'm technically like kind of talking like about things of the past as well. Maybe I'm like reviewing something, kind of like reflecting on something that I actually maybe at a certain point in time started, and I'm now sort of revisiting that space. And it can be considered, kind of like a backstep, but I feel like, in confronting this, it's actually, I'm hearing a confrontation with what it is that I actually see myself carrying out in the future. So you have the 3 of Cups in reverse, something that you're actually rekindling a space of connecting with. Now, this is, again, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. On the 7th, we've got the Death card coming through. Okay, so Death card here leading you out of the 1st week of March. Wow, felt like someone just took like a screenshot. I'm hearing that's specifically like someone just took a screenshot or something. I don't know what that's only to. Someone like they even like they shared something on social media. Something was like made official, perhaps in some way or another. I'm hearing, is that you? I'm hearing the Devil Who Wears Prada. I'm hearing Freddy. I'm hearing Kruger, Death card. Somebody's like, they're also like, they made a decision to go to rehab. That's just coming through real clear. Or like some kind of regenerative like program. They're like, yeah, no, I'm gonna like do this. Leading into the 2nd week, Taurus, 5 Pentacles reverse. I'm seeing someone also like they run out of the room of that announcement so that no one could like respond. Okay, like I don't know. They're like, bye. I'm the person I want to become now. I don't know what that's about. And this person's like, people are like, all right, that's good. They're coming clean about that. Okay, anyways, 5 of Wands upright, 5 Pentacles reverse, 9 of Cups upright, leading you into again the 2nd week. Now this is 8th, 9th, 10th. 11th is accompanied by the daughter swords. I said mother swords. 11th is the Temperance card. Wants to be seen in tandem with the Hanged Man and the Father of Cups. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So then we have around the 13th Justice card upright. 14th, we've got the 9 of Wands upright. So in the 2nd week here for you, Taurus, there's something that you realize. you really feel like you want to actually like rekindle, or you want to revise. You maybe want to revisit. There's something that like maybe you thought you could replace, but like you're like, nope, I can't do that. I'm hearing that's my dad. I'm hearing as well Temperance upright. And the Hangman in reverse, Father Cups in reverse, like someone's like, I'm not really your daughter, I'm hearing as well. And then they like ran off, and like this person was like, Remy? I'm hearing, listen, rules are not real, okay? I'm hearing like names, they're not real. I'm hearing it's a love that we show each other. So maybe someone actually like, they had a little bit of like this thumb clenching moment. I don't know what that's alluding to. Like they felt like kind of replaced even at a certain point. They're like, my real dad is like lost in the mountains right now. I'm hearing that as well. Like maybe even someone like they actually like set something up, but it didn't really, like, also take care of them in the way that they thought. I'm hearing that as well, like, me. But I'm hearing this for a number of you, unfortunately, has to do with drugs or some kind of, what's a drug? You know, anything excessive. It could be even, like, meditation. They're like, I'm gonna, like, run away in my room. Under my whole room and board situation, I'm gonna just talk to my roommates about this, and I'm just gonna replace my dad. I'm hearing that again. Like, I don't know what that's alluding to with the Death card upright, but maybe someone was like, this is like a sticky situation. I'm hearing that specifically with the Hangman, Father Cups, and the Temperance card. So for a number of you, there's something maybe like, even like you didn't want to address, or like you're like, I don't want to have to like come out and like in my robe and like really get very clear on this with them like that. But I kind of needed to tell them that tough didn't equate to love. I'm hearing that as well. So maybe someone felt like also some situation or circumstance was like not appropriate for them, like, or like they felt like they weren't appreciated in that space, or like, but it's not. I'm hearing it's about the twins. I'm hearing that with the Hangman, the Death card, Father Cups. I'm hearing they were up late at night talking about this, and like maybe there was a conversation, and like someone felt like someone was like holding onto their teddy bear like real tight, and this person was like, but you're not telling me like everything that like, you know, he told me. I'm hearing my dad. I'm hearing my real dad. I'm hearing that as well. And like this person's like, well, listen, I'm hearing, you know, everybody has a canvas, and we all like, it's a real difficult time here someone's having with perhaps even this discussion. They're like, we all, you know, we all have this like portrait, you know, that we paint, and sometimes we kind of like realize what we want like afterwards. Like maybe someone feels like, you know, you're not acting like you're really my dad. Maybe someone is their dad, but they're like, you know, I just don't feel like you're also taking responsibility for us. That's not for everyone. I'm hearing cleave. I don't know what let's leave that. So for a number of you, it's like somebody feels like, look, maybe you are like responsible, but I feel like you're running away from it actually. So I'm not sure what that's alluding to, Taurus, but somebody, maybe this could be with you as well, where it's like your inner sort of, I'm hearing soulmate is like, I'm hearing has run dry. I'm hearing that as well. Father Cups, it could be like even your inner child, and you're like, I'm realizing also, somebody feels like I'm realizing what I really need. Also perhaps even in a relationship, or like, be it, you know, you with you, or be it you with even like a parent or two, or a group of parents. I'm hearing as well, like mentors. I'm hearing as well. It's like, I just don't feel like also there's enough tension in the room. Okay, so somebody feels like someone, maybe they don't address these like really important like topics that I'm hearing normally, like I'm hearing I'm hearing dads would discuss, I don't know what, like someone feels like, why do you shy away from this? Like every time I want to like also show you like my portrait, like you kind of like you play it like it's like a good game, and like the match is over like right then and there. Like I don't know what that's about, but maybe someone's like, I want you to actually give me feedback. Okay, like let's clear that. So for a number of you though, like someone actually they realize they want something out of maybe even like themselves. They're like, I really do like also love this person. Wow. But it's over time or through some sort of like cycle of not seeing someone or not seeing them, that they're like, oh my gosh, like they were really like really there for me. I'm hearing that as well. So for number though, somebody realizes, like they tell someone, look, again, like, you know, parenting or having what feels to be like a space that is kind of like home is, I'm hearing, a cooperative move. Hold on, let's clear that. It's something that we make. So somebody feels like, look, I'm trying to be vulnerable with you, but are you being vulnerable with me? Now, this might be with someone's kids as well. Okay, let's pull a few more cards. Somebody has braids, but let's clear that. They live in Calabasas, I'm hearing, in a hotel. I'm not sure what those alluding to. Eight of Pentacles coming through in the third week. Right at the base of the Five of Pentacles in reverse. Daughter of Pentacles in reverse. Leading out in the 15th, 16th. 17th is the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So somebody's actually, they're like presented with an opportunity even like to move, or they're about to make a I'm hearing Marge and Bart Simpson. I don't know. Daughter of Swords, Ace of Pentacles, Nine of Cups. They're like, I don't know what that's alluding to, but they're like, I'm about to like leave my home to go to another testing center. What's that about? Ace of Swords in reverse. This could be even like a camp or like a program. Someone's getting like sent away and they're like, I don't really want to even like, I don't want to be here. I'm hearing that specifically, but they're taught, I don't know. It's like, it's actually something, it's about the tension. Maybe they're like, well, I don't want to talk about the tension. So I want to go, you know, to this new topic. I'm hearing this other topic or this other, I want to go to this like training camp. And then it's like they go and but then they're like, but I don't want to go here. Like, I don't want to actually like, I'm hearing I want to go home. So like when they go to that camp, they're like, no, I want to go home. So for a number of you, this is something that maybe even like you're grappling with. Okay, big time. It has to do with for a number of you, your habits. I'm hearing your home life and what feels satisfying for you. Sometimes we don't really feel like we connect, perhaps even just certain concepts that are related to family life, until it is the moments that we kind of feel like we have to like make peace with them. I'm not sure what that's alluding to, but it's like, wow, I realize like when we do kind of like reflect on this space, we realize that it's something that we really do relate to. Perhaps it's just wanting to relate to it that kind of opens us up to the connection we hold with it. So it's about vulnerability, perhaps. Like maybe someone felt like somebody wasn't ready to get vulnerable. Maybe again, like with someone's kids, or like there's something about the reaction to that space or even that conversation. And it's like, I realized like, wow, I just kind of like stopped the whole show because I was scared of like having expectation of that and of children, or, you know, working with children. And so at the end of the day, it was like someone, again, like they actually like, they left some space, or like someone maybe even like, they let someone leave. They were like, all right, you want to leave? Go, no problem. Like, you want to go to your friends? Like, you want to go back to like Francine? I'm hearing Florida, Fort Gables. I don't know, Fort Lauderdale, Fort Gables. I'm hearing specifically. Anyways, to watch the Gators game. I'm hearing Florida Gators. I don't know what that's only doing. Just clear that, and it's like maybe they actually left, and then they like immediately looked back, and they were like, no, no. I don't want to live with Francine. I'm hearing that specifically. I'm hearing, or Auntie Frederick. I'm hearing I'm first in the family. Wow. So somebody, okay, something about, this is for an overview. They felt like they weren't appreciated. This is not for everyone, but somebody felt like there was something that, and they may be so young that they're not processing it in this way, but, or as a passive need. Like maybe they're not, this is for everybody, like they're just changing their behavior, but they're not processing the pain even. They're like, I feel like this person has like kind of left me. I'm hearing hanging as well, like hanging wide open, like they've left my life. I'm hearing that as well, like also with a lot of mysteries, a lot of questions, spiritually especially, and I don't have answers. I'm hearing as well with the Fool, mirroring the Moon, but they kind of can't process it. On this, I'm hearing on this metrics at least. So maybe someone feels like they've kind of fallen into a trap of like feeling also like nothing hurts anymore. Like, I don't know. They're like maybe someone's like, why do you want to leave? And this person's like, I just don't want to be home. And it's like, that's that's not really the case, right? Okay. But they don't realize that as well. Like on a scale that they're able to really relate to, I'm hearing like and relay to someone else perhaps. And there's this defensive energy with the Fool perhaps and the Moon that has sort of like distracted from even like the awareness of certain people in the room that are actual guides. Like somebody is thrown off even by someone's behavior. They're like, why is the child like chasing all these other people? And like they're kind of like they've created this whole like personality that's raging also for attention, and they write it off as like that's wrong. The way they're acting is wrong. So should we just like, you know, okay, so for a number of you, someone is like, no, listen, they're writing their lines, I'm hearing, with different letters. Saying that they don't want to be home is a cry actually for help. Saying that home doesn't feel like home. It's not that they don't want to be there. So for a number of you, Cancer, I'm hearing Leo, Capricorn. There's something that it's actually like they feel like they're like late. There's something that's late. They're like, why did like I'm hearing like I'm seeing someone's dad like shows up, but like in the child's like later years, and it really it kind of it kind of it stimulates something here for the Fool that is like they don't know how to relate to this. So something is brought up, it's even reviewed here, and again it might be subconscious, and we aren't absolutely like there's a lot of subconscious psyche work here that is at play perhaps with the Fool. I'm hearing the Tower as well. It's like, you know, maybe someone didn't realize that they actually wanted to talk about something, but they just kind of like they run it off as like, I don't really want to respond. That doesn't mean that they don't want to talk about it, right? Necessarily, it's like, well, it's not that I don't want to talk about it, it's just I don't want to respond. So it has to maybe do with like understanding how to approach this space. Like maybe someone actually, and maybe this has to do with attraction, like somebody feels like they want something, or like they're really attracted to someone. Maybe they actually like they really love someone's family, and like it's not that they don't want to like relate to that space, it just subconsciously maybe it was like the shift. Maybe someone comes from a space that was like they didn't have that I'm hearing that brethren, I'm hearing connection in their community growing up. So it kind of like it placed them in a position maybe that they didn't really have, as they felt it, this perspective to even like appreciate until they left it. So perhaps not for everyone, but for a number of you, it's like then they're like they left the space, and like and then someone was like, I'm coming home. Like immediately they called back, and they were like, no. I'm freezing. I'm hearing that. I'm freezing at the lake. I'm hearing I don't love this place. I don't like this place. I'm hearing that. Fool upright, the Moon upright. I'm hearing can you take me back here? The World in reverse. In the last week of March, the World in reverse. Right around the 22nd. Then you lead into the Nine of Swords upright. I'm hearing it has to do with the classroom. I'm hearing I'm hearing Clancy. I'm hearing that. And I do have the Six of Cups in reverse. Remember, the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Leading out is the Hermit towards the mid part of the week. We have here around again 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th. 25th is a Hermit. 26th is the Nine of Pentacles upright. 27th. So someone's like, all right, so what are we going to do? That's like, somebody's like thinking like, well, what is the solving of this equation? So hold on, but we're going to get to that. Seven of Pentacles upright. I'm hearing Matthew knows what it is. I'm hearing it's not related to algebra. I'm hearing that as well. Somebody's thinking, like, is it the school? Is it, like... I'm hearing the spa age program, spa grade. I'm not sure what that's about. Like, sports team, like, something like not a fit, not a match. 9 of Pentacles are bright, 7 of Pentacles are bright, Mother of Swords are bright. This is the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, we move into the 3 of Pentacles. The 30th, we move into the 7 of Cups upright. And the 31st, Taurus, I'm hearing, is the 8 of Cups. So, for a number of you, it's like, we go through perhaps this cycle of like, well, that's not it, and that's not it, and that's not it, and that's not it, and slowly but surely move through the process of elimination to find that it's not something that we eliminate, but that we actually accentuate. I'm hearing that. I don't know what that's going to like. Somebody's like, well, let's downplay that. Let's make light of that. Let's say it's not really a problem, that it's not really even a responsibility to access these emotions. I'm hearing here, not for everyone, but maybe someone feels like there's something that needs to be like actually recognized. Like if someone feels, let's say, that there is a certain like, you know, they're like, I don't feel like dancing. I'm hearing that with the Father of Cups in reverse in the first week, with the Moon upright in the second week, or the third week. And then we've got the 9 of Pentacles here, right? Upright, leading out with the 8 of Cups. So it's like somebody feels like, well, you know, should we communicate maybe about it, or is it like also too soon? So maybe someone feels like something has actually fallen out of their life, and they're trying to replace it maybe, or they're trying to like leave it out and say it's okay, you don't need it. But at the end of the day, even the day, right, turns into night, and there are cycles, there are series of emotions. I'm hearing experiences that should not necessarily perhaps be challenged. Again, I'm seeing this like this flash going on. It's like someone taking a screenshot, like somebody perhaps like they recognize something, even like they have this epiphany moment, or like they realize that someone is actually they're feeling trouble. They're feeling trouble. And so it's like, if somebody is, let's say, crying for help, like, is the answer to say, you're not crying, like, you don't need to cry, okay, like, don't cry? Or is it like, you know, actually I'm hearing a plea for connection. I'm hearing of a human nature. So for a number of you, it's like, it's actually kind of simple, right? I can't speak for a situation, it's a general reading, right, of course, and everyone's situation will be different, but it's always a matter of perception, and there's no sort of, you know, yes, no, up, down, right, wrong, black, white, and out, so on and so forth, yin, yang, masculine, feminine, all right. It's all how you sort of like kind of relate to it, right? The concept, whatever this is. And so, but for a number of you, it's like, the question at the end of the day is like the human nature, right? So if you think about people and their sort of like their psychology, which totally can range, right? To be different from like one person to the next. But if we think about the core, right, of also like what not only defines us as humans on this planet, but also defines us in relation to others, like what makes one person feel validated, or in some way like a part of society is perhaps, you know, the space in which they feel they can relate to. So that is something that at times, like, and that will be different for everyone, what makes someone feel like I'm at home, I'm at peace, I'm in my place, I found my group of friends, my audience, whatever it may be, like, and it feels right, is totally like a sacred sort of Bible, right, that is kind of carved out for everyone independently. So not to say that there's a religious context that's related, it's just kind of, I just said Bible, it's just coming through. So for a number of you, it's like, to say that it's symbolic, right, someone maybe feels like, you know, maybe my religious identity, or the way that I handle certain subjects, or certain cycles of life, you know, things that sort of kind of accompany me through my motion sickness at times in this cycle that we call life, may not be, right, the remedy, the antidote to someone else's application, I'm hearing, of the same letter. I'm hearing to the letterhead. Wow, okay, so hold on. But also to the same conversation. So it's like, you know, maybe for a number of you, it's like someone maybe experienced something even as a child, and they were like, well, if I put myself in that person's shoes, well, that person, right, is not necessarily the personified character of simply, I'm hearing every child in their youth as well. Once again, let's backtrack. No, I'm hearing Yusuf here with the moon. No, no judgment. Okay, Leo, I'm hearing Capricorn, strongly Taurus, and just channeling what's coming through, right? But for a number of you, it's like, stated in this way, that I'm hearing everybody has their spin cycle. Everybody has their way of processing emotion, right? Some individuals will find like, wow, like, you know what? Thinking about these certain things, like, really, it changed my outlook. It really helped me, like, change my perspective of this space, whatever it is. For others, though, right? Like, there is perhaps maybe even like, it's not that that wouldn't work, but it's just the length of time. So maybe it's just the way in which, right, one grapples with the same sort of like conversation or subject matter. But everyone at the end of the day, like, they're also there. I'm hearing their nature, right? Their inborn nature. Some look at a certain space and they immediately, right, they feel others in that space, or they feel the sense of tragedy around it. And not to say that that's something that should be like changed, right, necessarily. That's what makes everyone different, and that's what kind of brings all the colors, right, of the canvas to kind of create that symposium effect of the portrait that's painted. But the mood here, right, it's like, for a number of you, everybody has their sort of like, let me say it this way, their perspective and their perception. Everybody perhaps interprets certain situations in certain ways, and I can go so far as to say that that is especially true for children, right? Especially because children, they don't sort of like filter their focus like on certain things. It's not like, oh my goodness, like I should focus on that, or like my feelings are like not valid, but there always depends, right? There are certain like changed behaviors over time. Hopefully not, but well, anyways, whatever it may be. Not judging, no judgment. But somebody here, not to say that something's better or worse, again, just channeling, but somebody feels like, well, to say in the way that if somebody feels like they needed to change a reaction to a certain space, where it's like, my natural reaction was like to totally cry, or to totally feel like I don't want to replace the space, or like to totally feel like it's right to feel like also I don't belong perhaps in certain places at certain times, like, or to feel like I'm not, winning at this point in time. Like, let's say that feeling be what I follow, rather than my logical sort of interpretation of this depth of conversation with my inner child. And children have that, right, that inner child as well, and that's what sort of can kind of take on the space of curation over time through the guise of adulthood. No judgment to your Scorpio, Sagittarius, but at times it's like there are different levels and degrees. Even here with the moon and the Fool, it's like, at what point do I feel like I fall out of my own life, not because I'm not there, but because I'm not feeling what I actually feel in it. So for a number of you, this may be your inner child, and you're like, it could be with your work as well, or like some kind of connection, even a friendship. You're just like, well, my friends tell me like not to feel that way, or they tell me like not to feel it like so intensely, or like, and someone feels like, well, why should that be the case that I'm not able to feel myself, right? So it has to do perhaps for a number of you with the space of accessing those emotions in a way that is fruitful. So some kind of creative outlet where maybe someone feels like, I have like a lot of maybe even pressure of the moon, and it might be something that, again, they're not processing. Like, they're not actually like, it's not like the kid is coming and like, I'm pained by the situation, or I feel like I was perceptively like, I feel like I'm hollow. Like, they're not maybe coming through and like saying that. They have this sort of separate identity, perhaps even, that has been created to sort of I'm hearing like get on with things. I'm not sure. This could be even a habit that somebody has kind of like developed over time to kind of like have a sense of also like purpose. I don't know what that's alluding to, but anyways, I'm hearing pass fail. I don't know what that, with the Fool in the moon, it's like, anyways, let's clear that. I'm hearing exam, pass fail again. I'm hearing with the Fool in the moon. Anyways, let's clear that. So for a number of you, it's like, well, but what is the what is the movement, right? Not only of me through my own life and feeling like, well, I'm moving forward, but where is it that I move like from within me, right? To not necessarily where I take myself, even at any one particular place in time with any one particular person and discussion, like where is it that I can kind of just crawl through my own labyrinth, I'm hearing, of my identity. For a number of you, I'm hearing crisis moment here with the moon, and that's okay, right? To feel like we're at the point where it's like, I don't know who I am. All I know is that I just don't want to be here right now. So, but doesn't mean yet again that just because, right, like the show doesn't feel right anymore, that, you know, you're not like also like you're not really like interested in your abilities or like in the space that it creates, like not necessarily, but it's like maybe it's just the way I'm hearing in which the golfer is introduced to the puck. I'm hearing that as well. Very interesting. The puck, isn't that related to hockey? Okay, so it's like maybe two totally different like people or like two subjects that are like really like kind of even complementary. It's like, well, we don't really have technically a lot of things in common, but then we can create our space of synthesis there. Again, going back kind of like, yeah, to the canvas of the painting. So for number is the Fool and the Moon, I'm hearing the Emperor as well. Let's clear that. Somebody's like, look, I really need to like also be willing and ready like to let go of my so-called like space of identifying with what has been meaningful here. So in other words, it's like this is about vulnerability. Maybe someone feels like, I'm seeing like a young boy, a young little boy, I'm not sure, they may identify as male with the Fool, mirroring the Moon. I said the Fool. Wow. So yeah, it's like there's something even that, well, hold on, this might be the inner child as well of another, well, up here, Aquarius, Sagittarius. Somebody also wants someone to marry, and they're confronted with this like huge commitment, and it just perhaps whenever you like someone doesn't feel like it's actually really their impulse reaction, perhaps in some way. They feel like they're following some rules like arbitrarily even, and they're like, I don't get it. I don't get the dance routine. I feel like I'm weird stepping, you know, like this. Like, anyways, let's clear that. Maybe it has to do with like even someone's culture, family. They are somehow acclimating to someone's like family or the lifestyle. Anyways, Moon upright, and they might be introduced to someone's family, and there could be like a cultural thing here, perhaps at play. What is culture? Dear Leo, I'm hearing Leo now. But for a number of you here with the Moon and the Fool, somebody's like, it's funny because the Fool's mirroring the Moon, but they're like running away from it, kind of. But they're mirroring it. Then you have the Daughter of Swords looking at the Fool and the Mother of Swords. So there's something like somebody is like, it's kind of a cycle. They're like, well, I don't really want to talk about it, and then so they step away from it, but then they fall back into the space of like recycling. I'm hearing their roomy poetry that gets them back to the point of like, wait, like this is really the discussion that I need to have, but then they're like, but will that really be okay? I'm hearing borderline. I'm hearing borderline with the Moon and the Fool. Like, will that be like the best route to take? Hold on. So yeah, somebody feels like maybe there are different like even like paths to addressing whatever this space is, and so for a number of you, it's like somebody just feels like I don't have enough support. Maybe there are people in the environment who they just don't understand, maybe. I don't want to say that, but maybe that's what's perceived. Or there's some field of interpreting this very deep, developing space. I'm hearing this way with the Moon and the Daughter of Swords of, I'm hearing like spiritual amnesia. I'm not sure what that's alluding to, no judgment. Nine of Pentacles, a bright Father of Cups in reverse. Moon of bright, like someone has actually like, they've let something like kind of leave their whole consciousness. Like they're like, I don't know, and they're like, they've got this toughness with the Fool right over the, they've got this like at least this tough way of talking about it, but they're not really, and they don't claim to talk about it as well. They're not like, I write about that. There's not really, well, they're not saying like, I'm okay and I'm fine, I don't need this. I'm hearing as well, but they may be, but they realize something's off, or that there's something even like about the space that's not right, but they may also feel like they don't know how to challenge their parents on that, or they don't know how to challenge their teachers on that. I'm here as well. For a number of you, somebody has some sort of quirk or it's an ability, and maybe it's like they feel like they can't compete. I'm hearing in the contest of the other females in the flock. I don't know what that's alluding to. Let's clear that. The Fool and the Toad. For a number of you, somebody realizes also that they have got this like quirk, and they're like, I'm kind of like quirky. I've got this like cool also ability, and like, for example, I'm hearing for a number of you, for a number of you, it's like it has to do with showcasing, and like maybe it's a very sort of rambunctious also like facet or feature of the personality, and they kind of are like tailored as they feel it, or as someone feels it, for like a particular topic of conversation. I'm not sure what this is alluding to. Like maybe they're super passionate about certain things, and they're like, I just don't do well in situations that don't allow for me to like take myself out of myself. I'm hearing that as well. Let's clear that. Somebody feels like there's something that they feel they want to talk about, but they kind of can't. With a Moon mirroring the Fool, it's like it's a secret, or like it's mysterious, or like, don't relate to that openly, or whatever it is. Like somebody maybe, or some space is like kind of, they're not really like presenting whatever also the space is. So for a number of you, it may have to do with the past or the psyche. Let's clear that. I'm hearing it has to do with 1111. I'm hearing as well. I'm hearing 11. I'm hearing the old red wagon. Hold on, the tape that keeps turning. 1 second. It's like it's something that. It's something that was like painted over. Even if you look at the Three of Pentacles, it could be even like Three of Pentacles, look at this card. You have one like red wheel, and then you got this like yellow wheel, and you got a blue wheel. And so for me, this has to do with even like a decision that someone felt they needed to make. Yeah, Justice card mirroring the Three of Pentacles. It's like someone's like, well, I don't know, like, am I a tomboy or a tomboy, or a tom girl, or a tom girl? I don't know what does. Like, it's like they're not able to actually like look at it like that. Even like they're so young, perhaps for a number of you technically, that they actually kind of wish that they weren't like in a wheelchair for that. I'm here, so well, let's clear that. Fool, upright, mirror in the Moon. Like maybe it's metaphorical. They feel like there's something that they're just like, I'm not really serious about this. Okay, what? So maybe someone felt like they had to make some sort of decision, and it's like it made them feel like they're a president, or they have to be a president of a club that they're actually like not really like professionally aware of yet. I don't know. They're like, why do I need to like represent my whole like room, with all my teddy bears, it's all my teachers, like that. I don't know whether it's Taurus. Let's clear that. But anyways, no judgment, but someone feels like it's just also like a little bit of this feeling of like, I don't know, maybe the way that something is addressed is like hinging on, I'm hearing the letter of freedom that I'm hearing the letters of freedom, and also the feathers of freedom that encourage I'm hearing the birds in the flock, and every bird in the flock to fly. So it's like the Fool upright, looking in the future, the Eight of Cups and the Seven of Cups, and the Chariot and the Four of Cups in reverse. Like there's somewhat of this snowball of a realization. For a number of you, it's something like of a picture that's been painted, and you're like, technically it's really great, or like perfect, or like romantic, and but I'm just not really there. I'm hearing that as well. Like, maybe for a number of you, you're like, I feel like there's also, like, a whole side of the story that I need to represent. For a number of you, this has to do with your personality. And maybe you're a performer. Maybe you actually, like, produce content and you feel like it's void of some kind of, like, connection that you hold with it on a personal level that's actually presented as well. So, let's pull the 3 stacks for you, Taurus, and see what further clues might come through. And these energies actually came through in, I believe it was a Scorpio reading, even the Capricorn. Was it Capricorn? Okay, now, I believe Leo as well, Libra, yeah, big time. So if you do feel guided, there might be further clues there in those signs. But let's jump into your pick a card stacks. And we are going to pull 3 stacks for you, Leo, Libra. I'm hearing again. There could really be some overlap there, Taurus. First stack here. Second stack. Third stack. Okay. Now, for number... Okay, well, let's pull the first stack. So we have the Daughter Cups. Got a thick stack here, pretty thick stack with the 3 of Wands. We've got here another pretty thick stack, 7 of Pentacles. This is all in the first stack, dear Taurus. There's something that you're actually, like, I'm hearing, you feel like you're at the point of, like, wanting to test the theory of, like, something that maybe even, like, you want to talk about. Yeah, big time. You want to talk about whatever the space is. For a number of you, it's something that maybe you're, like, you're meditating on even, and you're like, well, I want to make sure that I also, like, say what I really feel. So, you know, maybe for a number, you're like at that point where like I feel like I need to and I want to say what I really feel, and I just want to make sure that I'm really representing that. So if you look at the Daughter of Cups, right, and the 3 of Wands, it's like there's this sort of very colorful sort of reactive space, and it's reflective as well in some way. If we see this Daughter of Cups, we see that there's a sort of like this caption to her image that's sort of like indirectly portrayed by her shadow that is of color. And then we see here the 3 of Wands, right? And within the 3 of Wands, we say, well, this is technically sort of constructed space or image, but within it, we recognize that there is a reality that we create all of our own, and it's ultimately a matter of color and how we choose to create with it. So for a number of you, it's like somebody maybe is even like the realizing that reality is actually not real. I'm hearing it in that way. Like, it's not like, oh, hi, this is reality. Welcome to it. Hold on. Did you move entirely through the door into the room of reality? Oh, okay. Let's make sure that you're all the way in. Let's sweep all your things as well in this room. Like, no. Okay, like, right? How kind of silly would that be? Like, for a number of you, maybe you realize, well, reality is my perception. And I realize that what I want is to really feel myself in whatever the space is that I feel in. So let's clear that. For a number of you, it's like not to say that you weren't feeling, but it's like how perhaps you were processing your feelings. Maybe for a number of you felt like I'm technically successful, but I don't feel like I am really starring my emotions as the focus. So maybe for a number of you, like maybe it has to do with even childhood and upbringing. Let's backtrack and clear that. Maybe you felt like, well, I kind of like always was dedicated to the classroom. I'm hearing ideology and how pressure created certain stars on the page, and that made me feel like I was either prepared or not, and that painting wasn't the way that the portrait was actually produced. Wow. So Tempers are bright, 9 of Cups are bright. This has to do with even like leadership. I'm hearing legality, even like there's a contract here for a number of you that just kind of like it obstructed your perception of also success and what it means to paint the picture of it actually, and promotion. I'm hearing of your image actually. So it's, well, you're also your creative intention. So it's like for a number of you, you feel like you're kind of successful at something, absolutely, like you've created something, but then you're like, well, great, I'm hearing I've created the space, but what is my vision here? And was I kind of like honest with it? I'm hearing with the intention of it. And even if it was a vision and I didn't know where it would lead, like, that I kind of allow myself to roam freely in that space. So let's move into the second stack. Six of Swords, and you got the Eight of Wands with the Sun, the Son of Wands going through as well, the Star, High Priestess, and the Four of Wands. Okay, so Taurus, for a number of you, I'm hearing you've been really very patient with this, and I was getting that as I was just pulling the cards here in the very beginning with the Eight of Wands, like something that you've been waiting on. And it is something that maybe you are like expecting even to be delivered to you, and or something that you're thinking, you're feeling, well, this is serendipity. I'm not saying this is like, I want them to drop the letter in the bucket. Like, for a number of you, it's like, it's not actually like a gee whiz moment like that. I'm hearing as well, where like someone has the answer and you're just waiting for them to like give it to you, and you know that. For a number of you, this is something of perhaps this feeling of like, well, I need to be prepared to like, you know, kind of like handle my passion and to really create. I'm hearing my life from that space entirely. So for a number of you, there's a little bit of pressure that has perhaps come along with this question of like, oh my goodness, if I also actually like, let's say, merge my professional life with my personal life, you know, what would happen to my crisis here? I'm hearing my identity crisis. I'm not sure what those allude to. It's like, maybe for a number of you, realize that the world that you actually want to create kind of redefines or redoes. I'm hearing redoes. You're sort of your image. Okay, interesting. So there could be a social space here at play. Through the third stack, we got the Father of Swords upright, Son of Cups upright, and the Lovers upright. Now, someone maybe wants to be very careful about the way that they communicate, even to a certain community, about the space. It may be actually related to formality. Maybe there's a certain agreement that someone feels like I'm hearing, I don't want to just flirt with this concept. It's something that someone maybe feels like I need to be willing to like also really commit to it. Like, if I'm going to change the way that I really manage, also, I'm hearing my letterhead, all of my magazines, I'm hearing my content, like, it needs to make very clear, like, the message. So for a number of you, it's something that maybe even like you feel like you're in a space of leadership with, or like you're preaching some space here through, and it requires like, even like sort of like as you might feel it, or as someone may feel it in the environment, like maybe this has to do with marketing. You're like, well, I have this product and like it's great, but got to be very clear on like the take home message here. And I don't want to like have people kind of like also get the wrong idea. So I feel like I must be very clear in establishing my intentions. So for a number of you, this actually has to do with the way something is portrayed, and it may be visually, it may be physically, aesthetically, it may be also emotionally. Someone is thinking about revealing something here perhaps, and it's like, well, I don't want it to be taken like also as a game. Like, I'm here, that's just a game and that's all. What's that song like? I was like, no, I don't want to get also on everyone's nerves. It's not the point to like create this whole like bloodbath. I'm hearing as well like debate, controversy over just a little like tick mark on the hand of time. I don't know why that, like, someone's like, it's just not they don't want to have to like even like cause more pressure, like to also they don't want to have to like feel like maybe the space is like stated, okay, like, or overly like well activated, okay, like in terms of like controversy perhaps for a number of you, for the sake of like producing some sort of even like publicity. Like, that's like someone's like, that's the last thing that I want. Also Lansing, Michigan, I'm hearing it in that way to focus on. So for a number of you, there's something that it's a matter of also timing, and you feel like, well, maybe I'm kind of late, but it's better to be late and like really feeling very, very sure of what your colors are, rather than to like present something that you might question down the line. Love and light to you. Thank you for tuning in, dear Sagittarius. I'm hearing Sagittarius. Scorpio, you actually lead out here from the third stack with the Death card, and you lead as well out with the Mother of Wands in reverse, and Mother of Wands sitting right over the Five of Wands. So for a number of you, there's a little bit of like this feeling of maybe even you are making some decision, or you're presenting something. You might be actually making something official, like discussing something with someone, and it could be even like related to the physical body. For number review, it's something that you've been kind of like thinking about for quite some time, and at the end of the day, it's something that as you feel it, like it's planned. I'm hearing that as well. Like it's something that you feel, or somebody feels like it is a matter of like the deliberateness of the space. Love and light to you. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.